zero in. The dream of endless growth in California housing is now unraveling, and at the center, Governor Gavin Newsom. What if I told you that the very foundation of the California housing boom is now under siege, and that the panic is spreading up to the top? This is not your typical market wobble. This is a confidence collapse, one driven by government miscalculation, hidden costs, and a systemic breakdown of trust. Newsom has repeatedly pushed the narrative of building more, building faster. Governor of California. But behind the veneer, the gears are grinding, the screws are loosening, and the market may be about to implode. Stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the elite in California are starting to sweat, why Newsom might be scrambling, and why you must watch the dominoes before they fall. Now, let's pull back the curtain and show the numbers nobody is shouting about. In the luxury condo market of high-rise units in California's key metros and metro zones, the signal is crystal clear. Months of supply is now at 14.5 months, up from 6 months. That's more than double the normal threshold. That metric alone signals a severe imbalance between supply and demand. Next, sellers are bleeding. The average price cut is 18.9% across many high-rise condo deals. Consider this example. A unit that peaked at $1,200 is now going for about $650,000. That's a collapse of 45.8%. In plain English, half your money is gone. When you combine a supply glut, 14.5 months, plus huge price cuts, almost 10%, massive loss, 45.8%, you have a market in meltdown. This is real-time slaughter, and here's the kicker. Newsom's policies were predicated on more growth, more demand, more building. But the building boom is colliding with a buyer freeze. The governor's narrative is suddenly very fragile. What happens when buyers stop buying? You get a strike, a buyer-investor strike. In this case, investors and end users in high-rise luxury condos are choosing not to transact. Why? Because they're terrified of what's coming. Unexpected $100,000 special assessments, rising costs, hidden risks. They see the mountain of unsold inventory and frankly, they're backing away. Sellers are finally caving, hence the average price cuts of 18.9%. But a cut isn't recovery, it's desperation. What does this have to do with Newsom? A lot, because policymakers have long assumed demand would absorb supply. The buyer strike says otherwise. The cost structure is broken and people are voting with their wallets. Two twin threats are driving this meltdown. One, structural failure. The skyrocketing insurance costs, the catastrophic post-disaster safety reforms, think of high-rise buildings, fire and seismic codes, liability burdens, are hammering the operating model of luxury condos. The overhead is exploding, and it's often passed to owners via massive assessments. Owners foresee 100K special assessments and say, no thanks. 2. Oversupply panic in key region. The flooding of new high-rise units in prime zones, e.g. California's major markets, means that the market is oversaturated. Supply is crushing demand. The region that once absorbed nearly everything is now overloaded. Together, rising costs plus oversupply equals a perfect storm, and Newsom's agenda of speeding development and removing regulatory friction, such as his reforms to California Environmental Quality Act, may have accelerated the overshoot. ABC7 Los Angeles. The irony, the reforms were sold as solutions, but now they may be part of the problem. Let's be very clear, this is not a garden variety correction. This is a crisis of trust, not just a recession. Why is it different? Because it's not only about price dropping, it's about fundamental cost structures breaking. Buyers aren't just waiting for bargains, they're walking away because they don't trust what happens next. In past downturns, you saw temporary dips, then recovery as buyers came back. Here the buyer is calculating risk, saying, if I buy now, am I inheriting a nightmare of HOAs, special assessments, insurance skyrockets? That kind of fear is systemic. And when the market senses the fear, the panic becomes self-fulfilling. Governor Newsom may realize this now, his housing supply strategy hinged on demand. But if the demand side collapses, the playbook is broken. The watch list. What to track for the recovery. So, when will this start to turn? Not on hope, only when these signals appear. Recovery metric 1, insurance carriers announcing new policy offerings, i.e., cost and risk profile stops rising. Recovery metric 2, the state's low-cost insurance pool in analogous markets falling below a critical threshold, for example, policy count falling below 800,000. which would mean private carriers are stepping in again. Until those occur, you're watching a stall, not a rebound. In short, waiting for supply to clear won't work. You're waiting for cost burdens and risk perceptions to reverse. Until they do, be cautious. And for Newsom, the stakes are enormous. He's pinned his housing legacy on volume, speed, and deregulation. But if the market doesn't bounce, the political fallout will be severe. Here's the harsh reality. Don't catch a falling knife. If you're thinking of buying in the high-rise luxury condo market in California right now, you're stepping into a trap unless you see the signs of recovery. Governor Newsom knows the risk. He's moved aggressively to push reforms and volume. But now, he may be panicking. Because once confidence is shaken, rebuilding it takes far longer than building units. If you found this insight helpful, hit subscribe, stay informed, because this is one of the biggest housing stories nobody is broadcasting yet.